R31 build, everybody. Bit of a late start today because Rex is working night shift, so he ended up sleeping for most of the morning, or pretty much all morning. It's early afternoon now, and so I just sort of, after yesterday was a massive day, so I just sort of chilled out all morning. But Rex has gone to work now, so time to get back into it. So as you can see, everything's looking pretty good, easy to get it, everything at the back of the motor where it is at the moment with the mounts loose and nothing clashing with it on the fireball. It can sit really far back, which is nice. And you can see how the turbo worked out. That's my turbo drain. I had a lot of issues with that. I ended up having to find a piece of 3/4 inch hose that was sort of already molded in an elbow because everything else I put on kept kinking. So but that's looking quite good. I'm pretty happy with that. Got a fair bit of room for a dump here. Hopefully I can sort that out pretty easily, hopefully, but I suppose we'll find out. But anyway, pretty much at the moment my goal is to really get this thing rolling, get all this front suspension back in it so that it's rolling again, so that it can be moved around again. That's goal number one. I was meant to finish off a fair bit of stuff on the cruiser today, but I think I'm going to leave it. I'll do that from the weekend. So I'm going to focus on trying to get this thing rolling. So first thing I'm going to do is just measure this sway bar and then go down and measure one of my S13 front sway bars and see if the S13s are any bigger. So see if it actually presents any advantage to run an S13 sway bar. Also, you can see up here, I did get my little solid steering coupler in there. So hopefully that's going to be a pretty good modification. So in actual fact, the R31 sway bar is actually bigger than the S13 sway bar. So I don't particularly see any advantage to running an S13 sway bar in that case. So the R31 sway bar will be going back in. Anyway. First things first, I will get my fresh lower control arms with brand new ball joints into this thing. That's going to be step number one. There we go, nice S13 lower control arms in. I'm just running the standard R31 caster rod at the moment. I do plan on eventually modifying or getting RB Factory or some way to run adjustable rose joint S13 caster rods. But for now, like, that's something that can happen later. So for now, in the interest of just getting the car going, just got to keep running the standard ones. My bushes are pretty flogged out, which is, you know, not that great, but this is how it was when I used to drift it, and it used to handle quite well. So I figured, in the interest of just getting it done and getting driving again, I'll do this now, get it done, and then maybe a bit down the track in a couple of months or something, I'll look at upgrading these, whether I just put new bushes in or actually modify these. I've talked to a few people who have modified them. So yeah, a few different options to explore later on. But now I'll chuck the sway bar back up and chuck it in, and then I'll drop the body back down and put the new coil tops up in the coil top. And then I'll start looking at how the GKTech roll center correction piece goes in. So this is GKTech roll center correction. This bolts to the bottom of the knuckle, and then this becomes your new ball joint position and tie rod end position. So there's two different positions for your tie rod end. On the website it says one. I'm pretty sure might be that one. I don't know. One of them is like more aggressive, zero Ackerman, or not zero, but you know, getting towards that. And the other one's more of a street sort of duty thing. So yeah, I'll have to look into which one I'm going to use. So this is the GKTech roll center correction piece on the bottom of the knuckle. Obviously, because these go on at different angles, that's why they have them. You're able to screw them in from the bottom. Mucking around with this, it is a bit of a pain to actually get in there. So because of manufacturing and the way the knuckle is, obviously a lot of them are going to be different. This tapered piece that actually goes into where the rack end, or tie rod end you would normally go, is actually offset. You can see one side's actually smaller than the other. So what I found to be the best way is to wind this one all the way out, put this taper on. For me on this knuckle, I needed the taper facing towards where the lower control arm would normally be. And then line that up with the bottom one, and then screw that in from the bottom. And that's how I found the easiest way to get this on just now. So just that caused a bit of a hiccup, that taper. For a little while there I couldn't quite get it in, and then I realized that that is offset. So pay close attention to that. Anyway, looks pretty good. As you can see, it corrects a lot of the geometry and angles from having your knuckle set too low. So that should be hopefully really nice. Alrighty, so next looking at this hub, which I suspect has these three studs which I think have been cut. I've got some new studs. These are just Repco items for an S13. They're actually the same length as these, and even if these have been cut, the nuts all start and go down on them fine. There's no daggy threads or anything. So these are my new wheel nuts that I got from GKTech as well. They're actually pretty good priced and steel, so I decided to buy some from them while I was buying some other stuff. So I got neochrome just for, you know, hot boy spec. So I'm going to leave these studs in, just considering there's not really an advantage to putting these in, because these are in already, the nuts go on, and there's nothing really wrong with them. Obviously this is like an extended GKTech stud, which the other hub has 4 of, which doesn't really matter to me because I don't plan on running spacers or anything anyway, because I'm not going to actually buy wheels that are going to be the correct size for the front. So just going to bang this hub back on essentially, and yeah, then look at actually putting the tie rods and stuff on. Have a look at that. We'll get the car back up in the air. Alright, so here we have the front end set up thus far. Got my roll center correction piece in there. All looking pretty spick and span. Now the only issue that I can foresee at the moment is because someone's cut off the steering stop on this control arm, and because the roll center correction kit positions everything so much higher, I'm a bit worried about this not having any stop and over zeroing and binding up on the steering. So I need to get my rack end and tie rod ends in and just see how it's going to go steering wise, and see how it's going to happen. But if not, I can get a piece of angle bolted underneath the caster rod, or weld a bolt to the control arm, or there's options for there, but I just need to check that out. It's going to be the next thing, so I'll get my rack ends and tie rod ends in. Alright, so I have run into a bit of an issue. The rack ends that I bought are not correct. They are the wrong thread. So for this setup, S13 front end into R31, and the setup I ran before, I just ran N14 pulsar rack ends with S13 tie rod ends. So when I ordered my N14 rack ends, I was given the option of, obviously the N14 import, the Japanese model has a different steering rack to the Australian delivered model, which has a TRW rack. So I opted for the TRW rack because from everything I've ever known, the R31 rack is a TRW rack as well. But as it turns out, the thread is different on the N14 Pulsar TRW rack ends. So gonna have to go back and exchange them. So that sort of puts me at a bit of a brick wall at the moment, because there's not much I can do right now without them. So I've got onto the guys down the coast, and he's looking at seeing what else he's got in stock, Cody down there at the coast. So yeah, that's about all I can really work at here. Yeah, not much else I can do. So yeah, I suppose the next thing I can do is go down and get my other 2 R33 GTR replicas wheels, and just come up and put them on it just to see how it's sitting for height, see if it's sitting level, and see what the height's like, and then I can sort of lock off all my coilovers. I suppose that's probably something I can do next. So there you go, she's pretty slammed. I'm pretty happy with that height. Obviously, like I keep saying, these are a 17. I will be running 15, so I'll be running quite smaller wheels. So it's very close. I'm going to need to roll this quite a bit more, but that's fine. Once I get a smaller wheel in there, I reckon this will be quite a good height. So it's sitting pretty level all the way around. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty level. Got to remember it's got no fuel in it or anything as well, so there's literally pretty much no weight in the back at the moment. So there will be around about an extra sort of 50 kilos worth of fuel odd in the back at any given point. So that's how it's looking, and I reckon it's looking pretty good for height. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll probably lock the coilovers off there, leave them at that for now. So I decided to actually take it off the hoist just in case it was holding much weight on the hoist still, which it sort of was. So looking at it from a distance, still got to put the gearbox and like everything else in the front as well. So I'm going to raise the front probably about another 5 or 10 mil. That'll just get it to sit pretty level with the back, and then hopefully with the gearbox and the rest of the stuff in the engine bay, and then when it's full of fuel, hopefully it should sit fairly level. But it's pretty slammed. I really like it. Happy. So I've wound these coilovers up about 10 mil and locked them off there for now. I've got a feeling I'll probably have to reset it once I actually get the car finished and get all the weight in the car that is going to be in the car. So just gonna have to wait for that. So basically, looking at this here, I'm definitely going to need some sort of steering stop. There's not really any way around it. Just there's nothing to stop that, which is then going to cause issues. Like the whole idea of over-zeroing is that essentially from here you can see the rack end here, and if you made a line from the rack end to your ball joint, that's where all your steering happens. So call that one side of the triangle, and then the other two sides of the triangle are your tie rod and rack end, and then the knuckle. So if you're looking at a straight line from your ball joint to that end of that rack, which is about there, we're looking at almost a straight line. Once your steering comes back, and if your tie rod end, which is going to be here for the most aggressive one, if that goes behind that imaginary line you've got there, then your tie rod end's going to cock and it won't actually return. So then when you try and return, it's going to try and keep pushing the knuckle this way. This is what we call over-zeroing, I suppose, or zeroing out. Basically it just means that you will go too far and you will bind your steering, and it's just not much fun. It's definitely, for anyone that's ever experienced it on track, it's really not much fun when your steering locks full lock and you can't, get out of it. So pretty much need to put a stop, and you want it to be, if you want to get the most out of your lock, you want it to be just enough so that it's not going to bind, but close enough that you're going to get mad amounts of lock. So for illustrative purposes here, I've just chucked on the tie rod end and sort of pointed it somewhat towards the rack end there, which is fine. Obviously when this is full lock though, that's going to be all the way out. So it's going to be way out there, sorry, so that's going to be a more accurate sort of looking at your line. So you can see if we drew a straight line from this ball joint straight to that rack end, the tie rod end where it bolts to the knuckle is still on the back side of that line. So that's going to be fine. That shouldn't over-zero. That shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't bind up much. You can see the tie rod's actually contacting the steering, the control arm, but I don't want to rely on just that to stop the steering. So I'd still rather put a little stopper on it somehow. So yeah, it should be fine. Even if I weld a bit of angle to the top here and basically make a screw hole in the bit of angle, and that way you can have an adjustable one where you can adjust the screw head out and in and have pretty much an adjustable steering stop. So I might look at doing something like that. But I hit another little bit of a wall. I thought I had bolts for the flywheel and I thought I had bolts for the pressure plate for the clutch, but it turns out I have neither. So sort of hit another wall there where I can't actually put the flywheel and clutch together, and then I can't get the box on. So don't have belly housing bolts either, so yeah. Yep, I don't know, just lacking motivation today after the day I put in yesterday on that thing. And yeah, just keep running into walls everywhere I'll try and do stuff, so that's a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. Alrighty, so a bit caught out this weekend with unforeseen stuff that didn't work. Again, it's just part of building cars, it's just what happens. Can't really get too mad or upset about it, it just is what it is. It's just annoying though, because you sort of have, I suppose I come out here with a bit of a plan of what I want to get done and what I want to attack, and then having things that are wrong throws it all out. So it's sort of hard to get your bearing, and yeah, after that day I put in yesterday, today it's just been, I've been wrecked. So anyway, still, I mean the motor's in the car, it's got mostly a front end in the car, so obviously not a negligible amount of progress, but still just not the progress I wanted it to be. But anyway, happens to everyone, so that's just how that goes. So anyway, I've got to head back to the coast now. I've got to go, I've got to do some stuff for Adam, got some stuff here for Adam, some crimpers and that for his battery location, and some gate flanges for Adam. So I'll take them back with me, gonna probably go do that in the morning, and then we're going to DCA I think, at Archerfield tomorrow, so I will vlog that, and so that video will be coming, and I'll do a little bit of a vlog. So hopefully I'll get home and get at least a few hours sleep. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching guys. This episode might be a bit short considering it was only sort of half an afternoon / night. But anyway, had to clean up the shed. Me and Rex made a mess last night, and so had a lot of stuff to do. But anyway, thanks for watching as always, and keep tuned for the next episode. Well, hopefully I've got some more stuff that's right and I can make some more real progress. So. Cheers guys, catch you later.